Okay, new 15-minute game started. I played e4 and d4 already, so let's okay. Well, maybe he wants to play. What's what's this? I think he thinks it's a bullet game or something. Well, okay, he just gifted me a pawn for not much, I think. It's a bit of a reversed Smith-Morra gambit. You can just develop normally and have an extra pawn for nothing, I think. Yeah, white can choose various setups, of course, g3 or with e3, whatever. It's just an extra pawn. Well, even in the Smith-Morra, it's very questionable if white has got great compensation. He's got some compensation, of course, but it's hard to believe that it would lead to an advantage, and with just one tempo down, it's just a pawn for nothing. f5. This is weird. Well, the normal reaction would be to take on e5 simply to get the d4 fork going. But okay, maybe there's even something better. Bishop b5 also looks like an attractive option. If he, well, this bishop b5 just attacks e5, and if he pushes forward, I have knight e5, threatening on c6 and threatening queen h5. It's certainly good for white. Knight e5 is also good. Okay, let's try this one. If he tries to cover e5 with, I don't know, okay, played e4 already. Okay. Well, let's just quickly check alternatives, because this is really hard to believe that black should survive this kind of opening play. Let's say knight e5. He can play queen d6 maybe. Cover c6 and prepare g6 in response to queen h5. But I could always play knight to c4 then with the tempo. He could go queen f6, but then I have d4 as well. Yeah, let's go knight e5. I was also thinking briefly about knight to d4. Knight to d4 is also not without its points, but knight e5 should just be a strong move. Knight d4 has got the idea, if he takes on d4 with the bishop, e4, I'm threatening d5. So I guess he must take on d4 with the queen. And then I would just castle and play d3, bishop e3, and get all my pieces out with tempo. Would have a huge advantage in development, and also this pawn moves to e4 and f5 just weaken black's position. So, but this should be fine. Queen f6. I'll have d4 also. Yeah. Okay. Now I have a very nice choice. I can play d4. I can play f4. or can play knight to c4 and gain this tempo. Yeah, maybe just d4. This just intends to take the c5 bishop. Yeah, he just ignored it. Was more expecting that he would retreat to b6 or something. Sorry. What I'd like to do is to prevent him from castling. Yeah, okay, just grab this one. Maybe queen b3 in order to hinder him from castling. Yeah. What I'd like to do is just a short castle and e4 to open the position really up. Okay, this doesn't do much. Maybe he wants to castle long. Okay. Yeah, e4 looks just like the normal move to open the position really up here. Yeah, let's just go for this. This must be okay. Don't want to play any slow moves here. And just okay, I've got an extra pawn and I could have played, I don't know, bishop d2 or something, but it looks better to get the c1 bishop involved here to e3 or f4. After all, his king is not really that safe. Okay, now bishop to f4 or bishop to e3. Yeah, maybe to f4. I'd like to. This is of course a nice position of the bishop, and it gives various nice attacking ideas. This kind of position with the bishop on f4 and the king on c8 always gives nice ideas in terms of mating the king really. Let's imagine the b7 pawn is not there, then bishop a6 would be just mate. Or imagine, let's say I would play queen a4, he plays a6, I can just take on a6 with the queen even. And ba6, bishop a6 would be mate, so these two bishops can deliver mate. And another mate here would be knight on b6. Let's say you would play a6 in this position, I could play knight a4. Queen b5, queen takes b5, a b5, knight b6, checkmate. So this bishop position might give me some nice attacking chances. Yeah, this was another idea, of course. And now let's check if I've got some tricks here based on the mentioned active position of the bishop. I can always take on d7, of course, if I don't find anything better. But maybe there's something more attractive even. What kinds of mates are there? Now let's quickly check queen a4. Let's say knight takes, knight takes. I can take with the bishop. Okay, this is no idea. Okay, there's nothing
check
spectacular, so I need to take here. So what now? Just queen a4 with the idea to play rook c1 next. Yeah, the bishop on f4 is really an annoying piece. And the setup with the rook on the queen on c5 and the king on c8, this is uncomfortable really. The only problem, of course, is the nicely placed knight on d4. So let's say I go for, I don't know, rook c1 at some point and try to move the knight on c3. So you would have knight e2 check always. Hard to suggest a defensive move. If he plays queen c6, I can take a7. a7 is also always hanging. I can play b5. Then I have queen a6. a6 check, simply. Knight e6. I just drop back to g3. Not sure. Don't see a really great move. Yeah, it's he obviously doesn't see some good move as well, or he's searching for the computer. Yeah, well, let's wait what he's coming up with. Yes, yeah, I had a long pause in posting videos because I really got addicted to this computer game. I'm playing Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim really, and it's a terribly addictive game. And I'm also the kind of person that likes to really get the most out of his character in such role-playing games, like getting all kinds of skills to maximum and experimenting with different I don't know, setups and strategies, what kind of skills you should get for your character and so on. And yeah, it takes a lot of time, but it's very much fun to play. And yeah, I already played a couple of years ago. I played the game that was the the part 4 of the series called Oblivion, and I had played this really excessively as well for weeks. So when I bought this game beginning of November, I was pretty much aware that it would take a lot of time, but I'm almost through this, I think. So it's to be expected that I will do more regularly videos again. Not sure, is he disconnected or something? It's really a long thing. Try quickly to ping him. No, he seems to be connected. And I seem to be connected as well, so it's really a long thing. Yeah, well, he should at some point just play a move. But I know the problem. I'm also always a candidate in this kind of rapid and blitz games to spend more time than I should. So yeah, well, I don't have a great suggestion for black, of course. Maybe something like b6, and then king b7. But okay, he finally came up with the move. So now bishop g3 would be the normal way to play this. Keep this on the great diagonal. Of course, you could play h5. Yeah, then the question is, what about rook c1? Yeah, this knight e2 business is really somewhat annoying. I could also go to e3 here, it would be perfectly fine. Yeah, but this bishop really belongs on this diagonal and not on e3. Okay, let's go with the gut instinct here that this bishop should be here, not on e3. Of course, one should calculate, but I don't want to spend so much time. Okay, let's say he plays h5 and just consider this move. Well, rook c1. Knight e2 is really annoying. So rook c1 doesn't net so much. Do I have something else? He doesn't play h5. Thought he should really yeah, try to get something going there. Yeah, it's hard to get the rook on the c-file. Is there some way to exchange the knight? Let's. I was just thinking about knight b5 here. Knight b5. If he takes with the knight on b5, I have rook c1. This just it doesn't win. It wins the queen. It wins the queen. Yeah. If he takes with the queen on b5, I've got also rook c1 check. It also should win. Yeah, lots of material. So he cannot take this, but he can play knight e2 check, king h1, knight takes g3 check, and then maybe f takes g. Then f6 would be hanging, and also rook c1 would be threatened. Yeah, the only issue is the back rank, of course. Let's say bishop knight b5, knight e2 check, king h1, knight takes g3 check, fg. I'm very weak on the back rank, so not sure. Well, okay, d1 is covered also by the queen on a4. Okay, let's say in this position the knight on f6 is hanging, of course. This is also why I take with the f pawn. So if he moves the knight, let's say to g4, and then I play rook c1. Yeah, he will have all kinds of tricks then. Knight f2, for instance. Knight f2 is working. Terrible. Yeah, it's still tricky, yeah. But this is an interesting idea, this knight b5 stuff. Maybe I should do some preparation. Right now, of course, knight b5, knight e2, king h1, knight g3, fg, and knight to g4. It looks completely silly, actually. But maybe it is working. On rook c1, he's got knight f2 check simply. Amazing. Well, maybe just h3. Let's play h3 here. This threatens knight b5. As on knight to e2 check, I can just go to h2, hopefully. Or maybe h1 is better. But this prepares, I think, knight b5 in some way. Yeah, maybe rook d8 wasn't such a bad idea. Yeah, this is still a very tricky position. Let's say, for instance, I play knight b5 at some point. He plays knight e2 check, king h2. And then this knight on e2 is also very nicely placed for various kinds of mates. Just imagine he would have a rook on the 6th rank. Yeah? Then he could play in this position knight b5, knight e2 check, king h2, knight g4 check, hg4, rook h6 checkmate. Huh? This is also a typical mate with this knight on e2 or e7 and then mate on with the rook check on the h file, so I have to really be careful here. My king is of course safer than his king, but still very tricky. Yeah, we are almost spending all the time here in the first 20 moves. He's down to 130 and really should speed up now. But I'm not the one to accuse someone or something. I'm also terribly slow at times. Well, now he should move. I'm 2 minutes ahead on the clock. This is unbelievable. And really happening very rarely. Down to 40 seconds. Okay. Okay, let's say I just take this. What's the big idea? Knight f5 maybe. But knight f5 I can just take and take a7. This should be enough. Okay, but this just hangs f6, right? There's no big trick or something. Queen a3 I can just go to h2.
Check.
Now I'm threatening rook c6 with checkmate to come. Yeah, I can take now.
Check.
Okay. So now every move wins, but is there a direct checkmate? Don't think there's a direct. Okay, there's maybe a direct mate, but I don't see it. Rook c7, king e6, knight queen to c4 maybe. This could be a mate.
Check. Check.
Yeah, okay, queen f7 now is checkmate.
Checkmate.
Yeah, this was an interesting tactical position here. Let's check quickly. Yeah, okay, comp gives +5, yeah. He wants to play rook ac1. Yeah, it is somehow it's a logical move. Yeah, the computer is completely unfazed by the prospect of knight e2 and queen c1. Computer line goes rook ac1, rook e8, and then b4, queen to c6, knight b5, and wins. Yeah, I see this. I see that this wins, but it wasn't too clear for me during the game. Well, this of course keeps a large advantage, but okay, the other move is of course much more forcing, and this loses outright. Yeah, but it's a terribly difficult position to play for black, in a limited time game. Computer wants to play rook e8 and then king d8. Yeah, this idea crossed my mind in the game as well, to try to evacuate the king on foot, so to say. It's difficult here. What I'd like to know is what the computer wants to play in this position. Okay, doesn't want to play e4. It's also it's a very human move. It's not much of a computer move to but it okay, it gives a 1.5. It doesn't see any refutation or something.
Check. Check.
And this is very much the main line. Here it wants to play king d8. Yeah, king d8 was an idea that occurred to me. It's very difficult for black. It's also +2, the computer's evaluation here, so I guess it was a good idea to get with e4 to get this bishop going and not try to do some slow conversion of the extra pawn. It's maybe technically also sound, but this is just, yeah, the right way to play chess. Try to play active moves. Yeah, okay, thanks for watching. I guess I'll do one more and then call it quits for today.